Hello friends, now I will tell you a story about a character you all know well. Her name is Ladybug. She deliberately ventured into the Avatar world to cleanse the city of evil. It's a very interesting story, and now I will tell it to you. One day Ladybug, well known to everyone, set out for the Avatar world with one goal in mind, to rid the city of evil. She had heard about a girl named Catnap's plans to steal the most valuable costume in the Avatar world. However, due to a small mistake, Catnap failed to carry out her sinister scheming. Ladybug, determined to help the residents of the Avatar world and punish the criminals, took it upon herself to ensure the city's safety. Ladybug patrolled the streets for many hours, but she only managed to stop a couple of boys who were trying to steal lemonade from a little girl. Suddenly, her attention was drawn to a scrap of paper lying on the ground. Deciding to pick it up, Ladybug saw her name written on it. The scrap of paper contained the following message: Ladybug, you will never stop us. We are in dire need of the iron suit. Realizing that the villains were eager to obtain the suit, she immediately headed to where it was located. Unfortunately, upon arrival, she discovered that the suit was no longer there. However, as Ladybug turned around, she saw that the suit was already worn by a person, and he was not alone. The main villain began his speech, while those behind him suddenly disappeared. The suddenness of the events frightened Ladybug, as she did not expect such a turn of events. The villain noticed the strange expression on Ladybug's face and looked around. Seizing the moment, Ladybug quickly used her powers and rendered him powerless. Thus, the suit was saved. It turned out that Catnap, recalling her dark past, decided to engage in acts of goodness and learned about the robbery plans. She chose to help Ladybug and assisted in defeating the villains. Thanks to this joint feat, Catnap and Ladybug became friends, united in the fight against crime in the Avatar world. Over time, Ladybug and Catnap continued to fight evil together, protecting the peaceful inhabitants of the city. Their friendship grew stronger with each new adventure, and they discovered that their skills and abilities complemented each other perfectly. Together, they tackled various criminal schemes and protected the citizens of Avatar world from new threats. Now I will tell you the story of a very famous character that everyone knows. His name is Noir Cat, and one day, he decided to embark on a journey to the Avatar world to start a new life. It's a very interesting story, and now I will tell it to you. So, let me present you the story of Noir Cat, a very famous character who decided to start a new life in the Avatar world. Every day, Noir Cat helped people in his city as a superhero, but decided to take a break and venture into the Avatar world to relax from his usual duties. In this amazing world, he found joy and fun, exploring its beauty and diversity. He delved into the depths of the deepest lake, enjoying its mysterious depths, and jumped on trampolines, feeling free and carefree. He indulged in delicious but unhealthy food, not thinking about his superhero responsibilities and relying on other defenders of the city. However, one day his carefree pastime was interrupted by the cries of children. Noir Cat instantly felt that something was wrong. He turned around and saw a gigantic monster emerging from the depths of the lake, terrifying not only the children, but also himself and all the adults. The monster demanded the return of its precious belongings and wreaked havoc in its path. Noir Cat was puzzled and couldn't understand what made the monster emerge from the water and begin its destructive attack on land. Suddenly, an important detail resurfaced in his memory. When he was exploring the lake's bottom, he found an amazing, shiny necklace and decided to keep it for himself. Realizing this, Noir Cat grabbed the necklace and threw it towards the monster. The necklace hit the target instantly, and something incredible happened. The monster evaporated into thin air, as if it had never existed. It turned out that the necklace had a special power capable of reversing the monster's destructive intentions. When everything around calmed down, the children and adults turned their attention to Noir Cat. They were grateful to him for his bravery and for saving them from danger. Noir Cat modestly smiled and said that he was always ready to help and protect those in need. From that day on, Noir Cat became an even more famous and respected superhero, not only in his city but also in the Avatar world. He continued to embark on adventures, helping people and defending them from evil. His story became legendary, and his name became a symbol of hope and salvation. Now, I will tell you the story of a terrible villain. His name is Gabriel Agreste. One day, he decided to bring terror to the world of Avatar. It's an exciting story, and I will now tell you all the details. Gabriel Agreste always dreamed of becoming the greatest villain, but in his own world, no one feared him. So he decided to travel to the world of Avatar, where he hoped to achieve his goal. Arrogant and greedy, he intended to intimidate and subjugate the inhabitants of this amazing world. To begin with, Gabriel Agreste decided to frighten little children. He approached a crowd of defenseless children and suddenly screamed. However, Instead of fear, the children not only weren't scared, but also laughed loudly at the sight of the villain. Gabriel Agreste was astonished by their reaction and immediately fled, shocked that his attempt to intimidate them didn't work. Gabriel was saddened, realizing that not even small children were afraid of him. He understood that his dream of becoming a great villain would never come true. However, a new idea came to his mind, not just scaring people, but committing a crime. Gabriel Agreste decided to steal all the pets in the world of Avatar. One night, under the cover of darkness, he broke into a pet store, making sure that no one except the animals was around. Carefully, one by one, he began to steal them and bring them to his home. Everything went smoothly, and the next day, the news spread about the horrifying theft of puppies, kittens, and other pets. Gabriel Agreste felt genuine satisfaction. However, a week later, Gabriel Agreste realized that his plan was foolish and ill-conceived. He understood that he couldn't live properly in such conditions, surrounded by dozens of animals that he had to take care of. He realized that his desire to become a villain wasn't worth such sacrifices. The following night, feeling regret and acknowledging his mistake, Gabriel Agreste returned all the pets back to the pet store. The news quickly spread, and all the residents were relieved to learn that their beloved pets had returned. However, nobody could understand where these animals had been during the entire week, so Gabriel Agreste realized that he wasn't ready to be a villain. He acknowledged his mistake and understood that his actions were selfish and wrong. It became clear to him that becoming a great villain was not the true path to happiness and fulfillment. From that moment on, Gabriel Agreste decided to change his life. He dedicated himself to acts of kindness and started helping other people and animals. Now I will tell you about an interesting girl. Her name is Chloe Bourgeois. She is one of the most powerful villains who now lives in the Avatar world. But one day, her worldview changed. It's a very interesting story, and now I will tell it to you. Chloe Bourgeois had an incredible ability to freeze time for her enemies. She easily defeated them, rendering them unable to resist. Using her powers, Chloe restricted their movements only against her enemies. However, over time, something started to change in her worldview. Chloe felt that her abilities could be used for negative purposes. She began freezing vendors in supermarkets and clothing stores to steal delicious food and expensive outfits. Gradually, Chloe stopped limiting herself to just her enemies and started freezing people who annoyed her or simply displeased her. However, during her actions, Chloe gradually realized that all the people in the Avatar world began to irritate her. At one point, she made the decision to freeze time in the entire world, leaving herself as the only one who could move. Initially, this brought her complete peace and the ability to do whatever she wanted. However, after 2 weeks, Chloe felt that nothing brought her pleasure anymore. Despite having complete freedom of action, she realized the immense value that people represented in her life. Recognizing her mistake, Chloe made the decision to revert everything back since people didn't even notice that something had happened. Chloe changed internally and realized that she no longer wanted to use her amazing abilities for evil. She decided to give up her villainous life and began using her powers for the benefit of others. Chloe started helping people by using her ability to freeze time to prevent dangers or assist in difficult situations. Her transformation caused surprise and confusion among those around her, but Chloe continued her mission, striving to make the Avatar world a better place for all its inhabitants. Thus, Chloe Bourgeois went a long way from being a villain to becoming a heroine, realizing the importance of goodness and people in her life. Her story became an example of how a person can change and use their abilities for the benefit of others. Later, Chloe shared her extraordinary experience, which had changed her life, with her friends. However, no one believed her, but we know the truth of what really happened. Now, I will tell you about an amazing girl. Her name is Nathalie Sancure. She was an ordinary person, living her ordinary life in another world. But one day, everything changed. It's a very interesting story. One day, she felt that her existence was meaningless, and so she decided to start fresh by entering the Avatar world. In this new world, she hoped to find her purpose and discover her true essence. Upon arriving in the Avatar world, Nathalie immersed herself in exploring this amazing realm. She traveled through its vast landscapes, discovering new lands, tribes, and cultures. One day, during one of her explorations, she stumbled upon a peculiar little statue. When Nathalie picked it up, she felt an extraordinary power coursing through her mind. Suddenly, she realized that she possessed knowledge about everything in the Avatar world, as if an incredible wisdom had awakened within her. Using this newfound power, Nathalie made the decision to create a copy of herself. She formed an exact replica of her personality and sent it back to her native world, hoping that this copy would be with her loved ones and assist them in their life struggles. At the same time, the real Nathalie decided to dedicate her life to helping the inhabitants of the Avatar world. She built a small temple where people could seek help and advice. Inside the temple, Nathalie shared her knowledge and skills, assisting the residents in resolving their problems. Thus, Nathalie Sancure found meaning in her life.